Hello, Wed12Dec. Yeah, Wed12Dec. Today, this is just kind of an introductory video and going to ask you to go and look at Izzy's Tumblr. We'll start though with, I'll put a picture up and it'll be from Paul Krugman, and he's put it up on his New York Times blog, and it's Labour share in the non-farm business sector. This is Labour share of production profits, what you get as a share when you work. Call it of production profits. And basically you got the same amount wrapped around 65% from the start of the chart, 1940, after the Second World War, right up to 1980. But from 1980 to now, it's just gone downwards. It's gone from the wrap around 65, now it's down below 58. But really it's just been coming down steadily since then, with a bit of a hiccup for the internet boom, which there was plenty of money rolling around, really. So much money that Labour could even get hold of some. Unemployment was low, employment was high, and basically people were bribed into working for different places because their labour was desirable. But the overall trend, I hope you can see, from 1980, the peak there, to now has been basically downwards. And that is part of the overall concept that Izzy is on about, referring back to yesterday. Now I'm going to refer you to Izzy's Tumblr blog, where she's talking with somebody or other. Will I get it in time so it won't be boring? Where is Izzy's Tumblr? I know what it looks like. It's got a green top to it, so it must be that one. Talking to Tim Warstall, and she's posted it with his permission on her Tumblr blog. It starts off, Tim, I don't want you to think I am bashing your right to expression, but I think you misrepresent my argument and Krugman and Rogoff's, that's, well, Ken Rogoff, in part because you are presenting something which I don't disagree with. And it's quite long. It'll probably take you 20 minutes to read if you go to it. Obviously, you'll get a link to Krugman's New York Times article and to Izzy's Tumblr blog. It warms up and up as it goes and becomes more and more informative as it goes on the subject that I was discussing yesterday, because Izzy is just putting this very similar things over in different ways to this Tim character, and this Tim character is putting over his idea in his very similar ways. So we get repetitive stuff, which is very good for learning. And as it hots up and Izzy is getting obviously very frustrated and quite plain angry, it becomes entertaining as well. So that drags you on through it. So it's well worth a go. I found it most enlightening because this Tim character is a bit of a libertarian type. And he is, to my mind, just a classic libertarian type that doesn't think, won't think, and perhaps can't think in the way that I refer to thinking, and I think Izzy would refer to thinking, and a lot of you would refer to as thinking as well. It's very hard to explain, and I've tried it before. I don't know if it was here or on YouTube, but the libertarians think classically like religious people. They do not think. They refer to text. And I can't really explain it much better than that. When I talk to you, if you're not a libertarian type, we have an exchange of views where I say something and something happens in your head and it goes jingly, 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 and something comes out. And obviously that's what happens in a libertarian type because their brains are the same. But it is a different way of doing it. It's instead of free thinking, and it just goes to wherever it goes to react in whatever ways it reacts. It is, I'll use almost free will type things. It is channeled by the free market person or the religious person into this dogma, into the dogma book. And it's referred to the dogma book. And then the expressions that say I'm talking in a video are referred by the religious person or the free market person, libertarian, to the dogma book. And only it'll make react things in the dogma book. And then the libertarian person quotes the dogma book. And it's just because the dogma book is so limited, it's not often an applicable, appropriate answer to either the question I've asked or the thing that I've put forward. And all you get back is something from the dogma book. And from my side, I go, well, that's just, it's not thinking. That's not thinking. That's just getting an answer, religious answer from a dogma book. Anyway, if you can think about it that way, this is exactly what Izzy's getting. This Tim character isn't thinking. He's got his way of thinking, which is reference to the dogma book of libertarians, and that's all you get. And if you put something there that basically what happens in a lot of this is Izzy is agreeing with Tim, but Tim can't see it because the words that Izzy uses make dogma book arguments come up. And she, things, not arguments, dogma information come up. And then, God, this is getting psychological. And it's all nonsense because brains don't work like this. But then the Tim character gets the dogma information and puts it, and doesn't understand it, because the libertarian, like the religious person, isn't trying to understand, does not understand what, let's say, I'm saying, or what anybody talks to them in an argument. They just quote from the dogma book. So Tim is quoting back from the dogma book, thinking that the dogma book is arguing with Izzy. So Tim puts it over as an argument, and Izzy's going, well, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's not an argument. You're agreeing with me, but Tim himself can't see it because he does not understand the dogma book, because he's just accepted it as dogma. Like religious people understand religion as dogma, they don't understand it. They just accept it and re-spout it as their belief. But they don't understand it. And this is what you get with libertarians. They'll give you a word, a phrase, a sentence, sometimes even a whole paragraph or chapter. But they don't understand it. Asked ever to explain why or what's behind it, the thinking, all they can quote is more dogma. They can't explain the thinking behind it, the logic behind it, because often there is no logic behind it. And all they do is requote the dogma or get angry. Or what they nearly always do is just requote, often the same thing. They just don't understand what they're just quoting as dogma. So that's more my angle on this, that I did say this a couple of weeks ago. If I've learned one thing in this 5 years or so of talking to people on YouTube and Over the Peak, libertarians do not understand anything. They're very good at quoting dogma, but do not understand things. Whereas so many other people on Over the Peak understand things because they just accept the information. What information comes in, they just accept it. They don't say it's right or wrong. They don't know whether they know it's right or wrong. They just accept it. It comes in. And when it just sparks something, and it's just there. But when you're like a religious person or a libertarian, which is just another religion, when you already 5 years ago know something, knew something, nothing gets changed. All that's been done, it's like my information coming in and playing on their piano. Nothing changes. Their piano is tuned just the same. My information comes in and goes ding dang dong dong, or dong dong dong, whatever it might be. It changes not the notes. They are unchangeable. They basically don't think and can't think. They're just stuck in their own little world. And like religious people, you can hit on the dong dong dong, which might be do unto others as they would have done unto you, or whatever it is. Genius, fine, wonderful. And I'm not saying it's all wrong, but it's just so frustrating talking to people like that, because you're not talking to a person. You're talking to a dogmatic, already laid down bit of information. And it's basically a waste of time talking to them. And I've wasted an awful lot of time talking to these types of people that already know, just know it. They know it already. And Izzy's getting a slice of it in this thing that I'm encouraging you to read, because it's very informative on... It's not very informative on how libertarians think in a dogmatic religious way. It's not. You might not even notice it. In fact, I only notice it because I've got my bee in my bonnet about it. But it would be useful as the next step in understanding what I was trying to talk about yesterday. And I don't understand it yet. Wherever possible, I'll be following these leads to try and get my understanding up to snuff on it, so I'll be able to explain it to anybody in comments, which I can't do now to a greater extent. I've got the basics of it, but the finer details I haven't got yet at all. I can see the frame of the picture, but I haven't got all the jigsaw pieces in. I probably never will get all the pieces in. That's what we must accept in life, that we never really ever build up full pictures of anything. But this is what religious people and libertarian types can't understand, or won't accept, that that's just part of life. You never get a full picture of anything. In fact, we rarely get much of just more than just an outline of something, of anything in life. It's very, very rare that we get a full picture of anything. And that is just always a permanently uncomfortable situation to be in, that religious people and libertarian types won't accept, so they just pretend that they know what the entire picture is. And talking to them is a waste of time, because they have got the entire picture, and you're not going to be able to get in there and say, well, that's obviously wrong, and try and take a piece out, because that bit that you're going to take out is part of their entire picture. So you're basically wasting your time talking to them.